So we're going to install the STM32CubeIDE, which we can download from the ST website. I'm showing you this so that you can see some of the quirks, whilst there is a link below that takes you straight to the CubeIDE software. I think, we can see from the STM32Cube history there that I've already searched for it on this, but if I type STM32CubeIDE, I get this link, and that takes me there. Now you can see this menu bar here will change, as it just has, and we have a Get Software, and that's one of the little quirks. You will find that you need to keep track of which buttons you're pressing, and let the web pages within the ST website settle down. So I'm going to get the latest one. It's going to ask me to accept the license agreement, which I have to, and as you can imagine I already have a login, which Chrome or Chromium in this case has kindly remembered for me. Click login, and there'll be a short delay while it accesses the CDN for reasons unknown, and we get back to the page. We don't need to do anything at this stage. You will see the menu rattle around a bit whilst many things happen in the background. Welcome to Web 2.7 or 5.0. It gets there. It has now rendered the page properly, and it has started downloading for us. Now, for some people, this will be a rather odd looking installer, and because I don't do it very often, but I know what it is, because I don't do it very often, you will probably see me hacking around a bit. So that has now downloaded, so we will show in folder, and we can see we have a zip file. I'll just get rid of Chromium. So if I get it to extract here, almost instantly it comes back with a folder and with a sh file, as in a script file, the mother of all script files, because as you can see I have it selected. It is 796 megabytes in size. Because it is a script file, we will need to make this executable, and the simplest way of doing that for me is to go into permissions, say allow executing file as program. Unfortunately, it's not so bright that it knows that it can run this in the terminal. So we will need to use terminal to enable us to install this. So we can cd downloads. If we ls there, we can see that we've got the zip and the directory, so we cden stm, and that takes us there. ls there, and we can see that we have the huge shell file. And if I then, because we have to install other things in the background, do this, and if I then put my password in, and then it will do some processing, and pretty much apart from these two items, always useful to have access to any number of different debugging devices, and whilst you don't have to necessarily buy a Sega, having a clone, some of which can be very inexpensive, having that set up for you in advance is always good. Otherwise you'll have to figure out how to set the UDEV rules. So this is just the license agreement for the Sega. So we move through it. Probably sold our house when we accept that, and then as you can see it's doing some updates and grabbing some items from the various online repositories, and then it moves on once it's got the required libraries, for instance Python and libcurses and the like. It will then get on with unpacking the ST software. So we can see that it says that it's installed successfully, which is good. So we can exit that and we can close this away. But where in the world is it? Well, all different versions of the Linux desktops, desktop-y are different. I tend to use Ubuntu for mainstream items and a variety of other smaller distributions for Dockers. But in this case, we have this lovely little application element here. Finder, so that gets us started. For those that are not familiar with Eclipse-based systems, it has the concept of workspaces, which is sort of like a level up from projects or buckets or just general sort of topics that you're working on. I'm going to set my workspace to being GNSE, and because this question, what on startup gets old quick, I'm going to tell it not to ask me again. Easy enough to switch between workspaces. Okay, so let's expand that. And that is what it takes. Oh, hang on, we have to ask if we want to help make things better. I will leave you to choose what you want to do with that as an answer. And that gives us the STM32CubeIDE on Ubuntu, which is obviously based on Debian. So that's Debian side of things. There is also an RPM installer for those who are more Red Hat based. I will chop and change between operating systems in these videos, because once you have this environment set up, it is the same on the three different platforms, Linux, Mac OS and Windows.